All right, athletes and performance. Woo! All right, how do you help athletes build confidence after a setback or poor performance?
One of the things I always do is build on previous successes, right? Like in life, you're going to have times where you are less than your best. You're going to have times when you don't live up to your own expectations. Like, that's human, right? But when we have evidence that you've done this before, look at all these successes you've had before in the classroom, on the field, on the court, on the track, right? Like, you're not going to have your best game. You're not going to have your best race every time. That's unrealistic. So let's talk about, what can we change? Did we train the way we were supposed to? Did we eat the way we were supposed to? Did we sleep the way we were supposed to? And if we don't, let's start there. So let's forgive ourselves and move forward, because it's done. You can't change it. So what's next?
Yep. And what if they did eat and do all of those things, right? But they became hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Then okay, that's fine. Now you just stop. Realize where you are, accept the position that you're in right now. You're in pain, you're in rehab, you're gonna go through those steps, and then just continue to think positively about moving forward, as you've said, knowing that you've done it before.
Right. So, right, and just small little steps, right? Absolutely. Like 1% improvement every day, every time you train. I think that's so important for them to remember that.
And control what you can control, right? Because if I'm on a 5A team where everybody's 5 foot and I'm playing a 6A team where everybody's 6.5 feet, like, there are certain things I'm never going to be able to overcome because I just can't. And so what can you do within the realm of things you can control?
I love
that. Yeah.
That's I mean, we can only control ourselves. You know, my son, he's a small basketball player, and I tell him all the time, when you go up against these 6-foot players, I'm like, you're trying to play big. You're not going to grow, 12 feet in a quarter. So, play your game. Play, your strength is speed, small. We have this tendency to do what we can't in those moments, and we need to focus what we can do in those moments. And like, you're fast, you're quick, use your skill.
Your strengths.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How can we help athletes advocate for themselves in high pressure environments?
Well, one of the things I talk a lot about is timing, right? Like, you don't want to go to your basketball coach or your football coach in the middle of a game where y'all are down by 1 and say, Coach, I want to talk to you about this thing, right? Like, it's genuinely about timing. So after the game, say, hey, Coach, tomorrow, can I set up some time to talk with you? There's some things that I want to talk to you about. And then you go in and you say, these are the things I'm concerned about. What do you see? What can I work on? But it's finding your confidence to address those things, right? But genuinely, it's about timing, right? And parents, it's about giving your kid the ability to do that, right? Because if I tell my son, I'm gonna call your coach, he's like, Mom, don't do that. Okay, then you do it. I'm going to give you a week to figure out what you're going to say. I'm going to give you a week to say it, and then you'll handle it. And if it needs to be escalated, then it's going to get escalated, and I'm going to talk. Now, parents, please don't go to the coach and say, my son's not getting any playing time, put him in. Like, that's not what I'm saying, right? But kids, that also empowers them, right? Because if I'm asking you, what can I do better? What do you need from me? Then I have the information, and what I do with that is on me. I can't blame the coach. I can't blame the other parents. I can't blame the other players. That's 100% me. These are the things I can fix. These are the things I need to work on. These are my weaknesses. These are my strengths, and I can work on both.
Yeah, and being the soundboard for our athlete, right? I think that's important. I think after a game, it's instinctively like, well, why did you do this? And just kind of like asking them, how did you feel about that? How did you feel about your game? Yep. Like, what do you think we need to work on? And being that soundboard and being able to coach them, like, hey, what would you tell your coach? Yeah. What do you want to tell your coach? How do you want to, ask your coach this? And being able to create that independence in speaking and advocating for himself in the sport that they love.
One of the things that I see that I think parents need to be aware of too, especially when they have those very elite or high performing athletes, is not to double coach them, right? Because they already have a coach, and they may even have a personal coach, and then you up in there, it's telling, well, what you should have done was, and it's too much. You need to be their parent. And I think I hear that a lot from athletes where they're like, yeah, I felt bad about myself already. My coach was yelling at me. I felt bad about it. And then my parent was telling me something on the drive home. So I think you also need to be aware of, you're not going to help them achieve the next level by then beating them down when they've already especially when they're at that level, they're already doing it very well themselves, and their coach is probably doing it as well. So I think we need to remember also just to be the parent and not to jump in to be another coach that they don't need.
Yep. And that's like one of the things I do with my son after his game, especially if it didn't go well. I said, do you need me to leave you alone and not talk to you? And he's like, yes. Okay, fine, then we'll do that. When you're ready, come back and we'll talk about it. If you want my feedback, I'll give it to you. If you want to watch film, I'll watch it with you. But as parents, we can't take it personally when he's like, yes, leave me alone and don't talk to me. Because think about it, when you're coming home from work and your boss just yelled at you and you are behind on a deadline, the last thing you want is for your husband to be like, well, that's what you get. You should have turned it in on time, right? Like, that's not going to go well. And I think we forget those human things happen with kids too, because again, back to what we talked about earlier, kids just want your approval. They want to know you're proud of them. So when they're already in that shame spiral and guilt and failure spiral, and then you're telling them, well, this is what you should have done, yeah, that's helpful. I can hear their little internal monologue, yeah, thanks a lot, that's so helpful. Like, they can't hear you in that moment.
Well, and I think when they do ask you to leave and they do come back and have those conversations, validate that so much. Yes. Breathe life into that moment so that it can happen again. Yep. Acknowledge that that was probably hard to come back and talk. Yep. But, again, verbalize that emotional regulation. It's not easy to come back and talk about this thing that's so difficult. That was really a really hard moment. But here we are. We're going to figure it out and get through it.
And that can be empowering for them too, because you're again modeling, like, you can go back to someone and either admit you're wrong or ask for help, being able to, that they go to the coach and be like, what can I fix? What do I need to change? And that can also build their confidence, because yes, there's times when parents do need to step in, but then, I can do it. Because then maybe there is anxiety. I don't want to talk to the coach. Or what if the coach, then they build up all this in their head, and then they talk to the coach and they're like, oh no, you did great. Like, I thought you were fantastic, and XYZ I didn't even catch.
How do you help an athlete adjust when they are no longer the star on a new team?
Well, I think it's important to identify what star looks like, right? Maybe you're not the star point guard, but you can be the star cheerleader on the bench while your team is playing. Like, there are so many different roles that you can play, right? And I'm a solution-focused counselor, so my answer is always, so what are we going to do about it, right? Maybe you're not the star of the team today, right? What are you going to do about it? Are we going to learn what we are not doing well? Are we going to find another role in which maybe we can be successful? Like, everything is not all or nothing. Not everything is black and white. There are so many areas of gray that we can focus on, right? And I think it's just important to remember perspective, because let's just say that this is already an elite kid, right? And right now you're not the best on your team. Well, when you go to college, you probably won't be the best on your team. So let's learn what that looks like now. Let's figure out what we can do now to make you your best version of yourself. Because I will be the best Angie I can ever be, but I'll never be a good Melvia, ever. Never. I will never be good at being you, but I can be great at being me. Right? And so the kids have to be able to realize, let me take stock of myself. What do I do well? What can I do better? What is out of my control? I am never going to be able to grow a foot. That's not something I can control, right? I may never be able to run a 4.40. That may be out of my control. But what can I control? What can I do? What changes can I make? What things can I do to make sure that I'm controlling everything I can control to put myself in the best position to be proud of myself?
And I love that, because it translates to everything. It's not just sports. Yes. Anything that...
That's a mindset shift, really. It's just really adjusting your mindset to, like, it doesn't have to be the way that you expected. It's that frustration tolerance, like that mental flexibility.
Right. It's self-reflection, a constant state of self-reflection and growing. I think that when we can self-reflect, we can truly grow, because you never know what can happen. Somebody can get injured and you're up next, Right. My daughter was on a team once on a level. She had leveled up, and I remember the coach, very sternly telling her, you're only on here to tumble. That's it. You're not doing anything else. She used to fly all the time. And she was like, yes, ma'am. And she was a little, bummed, not too much. She accepted, her position. But somebody got hurt. And it was like, you're going up. You never know what's going to happen and what life is going to deal you, but you just have to take care of yourself, what you are in control of, and be ready when it comes.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like that mentality would always be prepared for the next step, right? Always have that, always just kind of practicing and practicing. So people talk about overnight success. Is that no? Some people achieve that. Most people don't. It's that those small little steps, those habits that you're building so that when that opportunity comes, like I remember when I first got on Instagram back in 2016 when I started the practice, and I was writing these little inspirational quotes and I'd post them, and it's just little inspirational quotes, and I would like write every day. I said, okay, every day I'm going to post something and just write something out. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, what is the point of this? And then when I got the opportunity to do like articles for other places, I'm like, this is what I was preparing for. Didn't even know that's what I was doing. So then when they say, hey, we need an article on this, I could write it in an hour because I had been preparing, writing every single day, just showing up and writing, even though I'm like talking about some corny little quote, I was practicing the art of just showing up. And so I think that's what we can help them with too.